You know what I miss? Colored.
I only did that because he's recording. Jeez, will you stop saying the N-word, Cody? And we're here for Between the Downs.
I did see a funny one. There was an old guy, and someone had sent him something and was trying to trick him, and he was reading it. He's like, "Would you rather watch a tree grow or a Negro?" And then he's like, "God damn it!" After he said it, he's like,
What was his answer?
No, yeah, he stopped that and just turned the camera off. And it was like, the caption was, it was like, he didn't break his streak of 20 years.
There's a high school football player named Noah. That's going to be interesting coming up soon.
Did you
Actually,
see the video of them asking his dad on how he says it?
Well, it's like Kaniga.
That's still too close.
I know.
We're
It's
still
funny.
gonna-
It's going to make those people that made the word knife sound a little interesting. It's going to start calling knife. Oh, God.
College football analysts will be hired quickly.
Yeah. They'll be canceled even quicker.
Sure.
Especially in the SEC. Oh, actually, no. He took a visit to West Virginia. Perfect spot. They fling that award around like hotcakes. So.
That was his most recent visit, was West Virginia, I think.
Yeah.
We figured out how to say Kirk Herbstreit, but we couldn't figure out how to say his kid's name.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I thought it was a meme first time I saw it. I'm like, nope, that's a real person.
Kirk Herbstreit has a dog. And his dog was touring the National Football.
I saw that, the Bulldog.
Yeah.
Or no, it was a Golden Retriever.
It's a Golden Retriever.
And he met the Georgia Bulldogs, Bulldog, and they kind of got into it a little
He
bit.
met Uga.
He met Uga,
He met Uga 8.
Uga 8.
Whatever
Uga 8
number they're
kicked his ass.
Whatever. Don't mess with Uga.
All right. Well, a lot of big news across the coaching world in general, not
Coaching
just the
world
NFL.
in general. Whoa, blow my mind.
I
Crazy.
guess we can start off with that. I mean, that's probably the biggest news, and it happened today.
Yeah, we'll start off with just the most obvious
Saban.
stat. I was shocked. Nick Saban retiring from Alabama. Now that just became the hottest coaching job on the face of the planet.
I don't even know who I would even think would even take that job. It's just
There's a few they might just hire within, give
Yeah,
it
that's
to
what- that
the
was my
OC,
thought was within.
but that's.
Just give it to Lane Kiffin.
I'll tell you what, wouldn't shock me.
He's ruined enough programs already.
It wouldn't shock me if they called Old Miss and were like, "Hey, Lane, let's go." Yeah, really shocking. I was literally talking about because I had another guy that just left recently, Pete Carroll. We'll talk about in a second, but I had it in my mind and I was thinking about other coaches that it's going to be shocking whenever they
comes
do
out.
leave,
Mhm.
and then an hour later, Nick Saban.
And that wasn't even on the radar.
retires. Wasn't even on the radar. No one talked about it. I guess he just finally got old with it. He's kind of fed up with the NCAA, the transfer portal.
I don't blame him.
He's an old school college guy, and college just isn't the way it is anymore. So I think he decided it was his time to leave. I know he probably wished he could have went out on top, but I mean, still got yourself into the college football playoff, semifinal game, played a really good game against Michigan outside of a little snafu in overtime, but other than that, I mean...
And this year was only the second time that there hasn't been an SEC team in, and that the last time was the very first.
Yeah, I believe so.
Which was
Well, I mean, we all know SEC is the dominant conference. That's why everyone's going there. And soon there's just going to be 4 conferences. So then you're not really going to have this issue anymore. But yeah, so that was definitely shocking there. Who's going to take it? That I don't know. I'm sure they got some people on their minds. Like I said, they might go in-house. I'm not sure who the OC there is right now. But they'll figure it out, and they'll still be a dominant program. It's just going to be very tough to not see Nick Saban on the sideline.
And I imagine you'd see who the coach is going to be sooner than later, because college is a little different than pros. You kind of need a head coach there basically all year.
Well,
keep an eye on the players.
the other thing is they have been recruiting because you had early signing day and the transfer portals pretty much already went. So really, it's all about the late recruiting process. So technically, Nick kind of set them up anyways.
I mean, it's Alabama.
But
whoever takes over is
but my
set up.
my deal is now is are people going to transfer because Nick's not there? I mean, it's still Alabama, but you're not playing for Nick Saban. You'll be playing for whoever is going to be there, and it's a different ball game for sure. Actually, isn't it Steve Sarkisian? Isn't he the OC? I can't remember where he's at.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's Sarkisian. I think he's elsewhere.
Yeah, I think he's a head coach
I'm
somewhere
wondering
else.
if it's O'Brien.
Billy O?
I know that he went back there. I'm wondering if he took
Oh, it's
Billy O's.
still
possible.
there.
Yeah, I think it might be Billy O. We'll have to look more into it, but yeah, definitely shocking there. I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you who the first person they should be calling. Prime time Deion Sanders. He'll bring his Louis, and he'll bring a natty to go along with it. They won't do it, unfortunately.
No,
He's
no.
committed to Colorado, but damn, that'd be something.
No, I don't even think it would be. If Prime had the option, he'd leave Colorado.
What do you mean if you had the option?
Oh,
If Alabama was looking to bring him in, he'd go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That should be their first
No, but you were
name
saying
they
that
should call.
he's happy with Colorado. I'm like, no,
He's-
if that was on the table, you
He's
take it.
happy. Oh, trust me. His name is probably still on the table, but he made a commitment to Colorado, and really outside, the only job that he would maybe take over then would be Florida State because that was his alma mater.
Yeah.
But damn, if they call, you got to at least entertain the thought going to Alabama, jump right into the SEC, heart of the action. Your recruiting just skyrockets up. I mean,
Do you see Milroe being quarterback there next year with a new coach?
that all depends. Unfortunately, I mean he
'Cause was it the OC or the quarterback coach that wasn't a big fan of his?
is Billy O.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Bill O'Brien, so it is Bill
Yeah.
O'Brien.
I was
Yeah,
just saying,
he
I
said
knew
Bill
somebody wasn't a
O'Brien.
big fan
Yeah.
of
So, I mean that all depends. You got to think of it like a pro team. New coach comes in, they want to really get their quarterback in there. Plus, it all depends on what kind of offense they're running. If they hire a complete new staff and they run a different offense, is Miller going to be the type of quarterback you want, or getting to you, or is he not? So yeah, I mean, it's up for grabs on who it's going to be. I think Bill O'Brien is the guy there, and I can definitely see them doing that. He's had college coaching experience before at Penn State. He did pretty okay there.
Can't trade anybody.
Can't trade anybody. Can't do anything to, it's...
Trade DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. So,
Right when you get there,
just got to be on the lookout for that and see who goes. I mean, it just became the most attractive job in college.
And we know in
Hands
college
down.
they tend to go to other college teams who have had success, but maybe play for a smaller college. We see that all the time where a coach is like, "Yeah, you get a bigger school now." And it's like, "Come try it out, see how it works."
Yes, but
Not many go from the NFL back to college.
I mean,
Saban.
some do.
I mean, Saban did, but he didn't last long in the NFL. Most of the people who were there, Saban, he was a big waste of time. But not many go. Like he went to the NFL, was barely there, and then left and went straight back to college.
Hardball.
Yeah, but I guess
He went to a Super Bowl though.
The difference is that it's Alabama.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I can't think of any coaches in the NFL right now, except maybe like with the Pete Carroll news. I mean, he's coached in college and had success. But I think he's at that age where he's just.
He wants to
72
stay.
years
He
old.
wants to stay in the NFL.
I was saying he's old. I mean, he's up there. In
Well,
age.
he wants to stay in the
So
NFL,
is Saban.
and
Couldn't tell if you looked at the two though. Saban's just in way better shape.
Saban's 72
Yeah.
years
He's a
old,
unit.
so, yeah.
but regardless, I mean, Carroll, who also left his role today. I mean, he's staying on as an advisor, but he's definitely going to be getting some phone calls from some NFL teams.
But does he have a contract with him, or did he just step down? Like I don't.
They
didn't really say too much, so.
mutually parted ways in the
But they
sense
wanted to
of
keep
him
him on.
coaching, but they
Yeah.
wanted him as an advisor, kind of like Bruce Arians down in Tampa Bay. So, so yeah, going into that, we got a lot of head coaching vacancies coming up. Some are still on the fence. Some are more surprising than others with the rumor mill. Of course, we all know Mike Vrabel. He got fired by the Titans.
got
Didn't mutually
fired.
part ways. They said, "We're
which
good."
was shocking too.
Yeah.
I messaged Josh about it to ask what he thought, being as that's the only Titans fan that I
Yeah, I don't know many.
yeah that we know, and the first thing he said was that he was sad about it. Like he didn't quite understand. I'm like, none of us. It was kind of a shock. Like I didn't understand. Like don't get me wrong, they got a young quarterback who really played well. He just didn't start the whole season, and it's like their defense was okay. They won some games. They had some weapons. They brought in Hopkins. So granted, it's looking like Henry's not going to be there next year after
Well,
he said his whole goodbye speech.
I think personally that was kind of the writing on the wall because
Yeah.
one, Mike Vrabel wasn't a part of them bringing in the new GM. He didn't really have a say in that. Probably doesn't like the guy that's there. Your franchise player is not going to be there next year. You're starting with a young quarterback. It feels like they are just wanting to do a rebuild.
Yeah.
And they want to do it from the ground up, including the head coach. He'll find a job.
Oh, yeah,
He'll
yeah.
get one quick. He's a winner. Now,
If
granted,
Bill
he had-
Belichick's out in New England, that's probably
That's
the job he's like for.
if
If.
they're still liking Gerard Mayo because he's been in the system forever. But
Sure.
I mean, a legend like Mike Vrabel, you got to at least keep it in your back pocket if you don't decide to go. If Bill does leave and you decide not to promote Gerard Mayo, then yeah, he's the clear logical choice. I mean, obviously.
And if not, there's other teams that have fired their coaches that he could easily.
There are other
step in
teams
and
you
be
would.
there.
Yeah, there are other teams, but it's like which would be the right fit for you? Because there's some where it's like these players this coach makes sense going to coach that team.
Mhm.
Like Seahawks, they just became available. Number one guy I think of who's been on a lot of people's radar, Dan Quinn. He was there during the Legion of Boom. He's got history. He's proven himself down in Dallas. And it's a well enough of a system to where I think he could come in and they're either going to keep pace or get better. So I really see him going there for the most part. And then, the most attractive job in all the NFL, the Chargers. I mean, that roster's built to last. The only thing holding them back was a coach that didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And personally, I think that's Jim Harbaugh's to lose. He's not going back to Michigan. He won his natty. He did what he had to for the school. He also doesn't want to be getting suspended again for like the 5th time. So yeah, I see him taking the Chargers job. He's done California before, coached at Stanford, coached at the 49ers, knows the area well. And like I said, that team is built to go. And if anyone can grasp the extra potential that Justin Herbert needs to not be like a Phillip Rivers where you just pad stats and not win, I believe it's Jim. And like you said, wherever he goes, he wins. So it makes the most sense to me that he goes there. I mean, they'll fish around for other people, but they are the prized pig at the fair.
Well, they have
With
a
the
lot of
Chargers
young
job.
talent.
They have a lot of young talent, and they got a lot of money on the books. I mean, they still got to figure out the wide receiver position. I mean, you drafted Quentin Johnson. He was kind of a shell of himself. Mike Williams is always getting hurt. He's probably not there next year.
Keenan Allen did what he normally
Keenan
does.
Allen's
He
good.
was
Yeah, but
great.
he's getting up there in age.
He is.
So I could
But
definitely...
you have him for now, so if you bring in somebody young, then you have him there as that veteran presence to help in the wide receiver room.
There's
But
a lot of quality in this draft class, too.
yeah, there is.
There is 1,000%. I think they're sitting with like the 5th or 6th pick, so...
Really depends on how things fall.
Easily... Oh, well, we all know quarterbacks are at least going 1, 2, possibly 3.
Well, they had Marvin Harrison Jr. projected as a number 3 pick, but we all know that stuff changes the day of draft or week before draft. Like,
The top 3 teams, Chicago, Washington, New England, they all have questions at quarterback.
Mhm.
Justin Fields a little bit, we'll get into that discussion in a little bit too, but I mean, we all know Washington with the current benching of Sam Howell.
no, he put up stats, so I don't understand.
I understand he put up stats,
Yet,
and you're dealing with kind of a piss poor offensive line,
yeah.
but if you...
Didn't he lead the league in sacks?
Yes.
getting sacked, yeah. But the other deal is you
No,
also...
on defense. I thought he sacked.
But the other deal is... But the other deal is you're getting a new coach in there.
Yeah.
They didn't draft him. So it's, again, whenever you get a new coach in, they want to wash their hands of whatever's there. And that's basically... You like that, didn't you?
Even with the flick off, I thought you were going to go wash his hands and get a towel.
No, I always flick. But yeah, so I just see that. I see them taking a QB. New England obviously is going to take a QB.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these 3-4 top receivers, Napers, Ozune, Coleman, and Harrison, they're going to fall out of the top 3. And Chargers are right there sitting for the pickings. Are they going to get Harrison? Probably not. Arizona's going to take him for sure.
The guy from Washington knows.
Ozune's great, yeah. So
yeah.
you have options there, and they'll probably do that because I think they're done with Mike Williams. They're sick of his injuries. He's a good player, but the best ability is availability.
Yeah, and he'll play for somewhere else like Mike Williams. He's easily going to be a starter somewhere else, but it's the injury issues that he's had. I don't think he's finished a whole season since he's been in the league.
Yeah, I don't think so. And
because I've had him 2 years in a row in fantasy, and it's like he's always going on IR for at least a couple weeks.
Yeah, and when you have that bug, unfortunately, it's just tough to it's tough to keep you around for that type of money.
But it could just be you find the right team. Look at Chris McCaffrey. He was always hurt in Carolina. He goes to San Francisco. The man's like an iron horse.
I also wouldn't be surprised seeing the Chargers go Brock Bowers instead of a receiver.
Mm.
Yeah,
get a tight end and upgrade from Gerald Everett.
From Gerald Everett, yeah.
Well, I mean, it also goes into how you utilize the tight end, and they use the tight end kind of seldomly. It's not like the San Diego Chargers of old. You know, it's the LA Chargers, and they focus more on the receiving core and checking down to their running back. So it's like the position's not really as warranted. And to be honest, Brock Bowers has just been falling in a lot of drafts. I'm saying out of close to even the top 15, like he's fallen out because of what teams need. A generational tight end, I mean, I'm not saying he's that, but there's talks of it. But how often do you really get picked up in the first round? I mean, it doesn't.
And it's really goes if it's a team that's known for using their tight ends, like a New England or just trying to think of anybody else who really.
It really just comes. It comes down to the OC. So, like, let's say
Kansas City, yeah.
So, like Ben Johnson, you know, OC for the Lions, he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere. His offense likes to utilize the tight end. That team, if they don't have a great tight end, then yeah, I could see them taking Brock Bowers. But again, you don't know where he's going to go.
I think that just came on as a play though with Laporta. Like I don't remember who the tight end was before he got there.
T.J. Hawkinson.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot Hawkinson was there.
Yeah.
So before he came on the scene, who was the initial starter before Laporta really came on?
Laporta. They pretty much grabbed him. And
but then when somebody else started the season off, didn't they?
No, it was Laporta.
They wanted to start Laporta, so they moved on from
Hawkinson. Yeah.
So like I said, Chargers definitely the most attractive job, and then of course you got Washington. They're dealing with some stuff, you know, going on. Basically, no defense. Offense has promise, but you know it definitely needs some work, and then it's really just a culture vibe there.
And it really depends on who takes over as coach, like you said, because they could come in and love Sam Howell. They got Brian Robinson Jr. They got some decent wide receivers.
Terry.
Yeah.
Scared Terry, Dotson, Curtis Samuel's a utility back. Logan Thomas is no slouch at the tight end.
The running back that they utilize a lot in the passing game too.
Gibson.
And Gibson, yeah. So it's like, you know, it depends. If they come in and they like those pieces, they could focus on the O-line, obviously. If they like those pieces, they could go O-line. And then defense, because they traded away everybody this year. So
and that defense was giving up points left and right.
Yeah, I mean, if they get a defensive-minded head coach, that could turn that team around completely. You know, add a few offensive linemen, maybe not even in the draft, in free agency.
Well, personally, I think that's probably Bieniemy's job to lose. He's an OC guy, so that's really going to fall on him. I mean, that's who I see, you know, getting it. But
I think a lot of teams will hire a more offensive-minded coach because if you look at all the coaches that have been let go, they've been defensive-minded coaches.
They have been, yeah.
With Pete Carroll being a defensive-minded coach, Vrabel being a defensive-minded coach,
Belichick's in question.
Staley was more defense, and that fact that he called the defense.
Yeah, I mean, even there's questions on Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Even, you know.
The man just puts together winning seasons, and you're like, whoa.
But that one's more of he's kind of tired and just wants to kind of take a break, which I hope to God he doesn't because he definitely keeps the team together.
Yeah.
But
I think there's a lot of fan bases right now, though, because we talked about this earlier, how, I mean, I have a lot of friends who are Miami fans also, but seeing the stuff all over Twitter and whatnot, people complaining about the way our season ended, I'm like, we have 11 wins. I'm like, if you'd have told me in the preseason that Miami would have finished with 11 wins and going into the last week we had a chance to win the division, I'd have been like, I'll take it. Even if you told me the outcome was we lost again. And that's not even mentioning all of the injuries that we had.
I mean, I understand you had the injuries, but when you look at that team, your main thing was like it was yours to lose and you lost it. It wasn't like the Bills took it. I mean, overall, they won games that they needed to win, but it felt like y'all lost games that you shouldn't have.
Well, that Tennessee game definitely come back to bite us.
So, yeah, and it's kind of the same with Philly. You know, Philly was sitting 10-1.
Oh, yeah.
And then they dropped 5 of the last 6 and end up, losing the division.
Yeah, I think if you look at some of the downfalls this year, and you just compare Miami to Philadelphia's, I think the Eagles is worse because it's like they were so far up there. They clinched it. They were the first team to clinch playoff spot, and then I think they won just one more game after that, basically.
Well, their fault is they just, again, the offense kind of finally came to true form where.
But we said all year that it was like
play.
Philly wasn't playing the same as they were the year before.
Yeah.
And it was only going to be a matter of time before their luck ran out because they were barely winning games. Like, yeah, they were on a streak, and a win's a win. But it's like they were sneaking by teams that they should have been blowing out of the water. And even some of the games, like our game against them, with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, 4 minutes left, it was 1 touchdown game.
Yeah.
And, we had to go for it. They got a touchdown. So it turned out to be a 14-point game. But, if you're looking at it, if you were watching the game, it was only a 7-point game majority of the time. I think we tied it at one point. And they had quite a few games, against Washington, that were shootouts. They had was it the last time they played Washington? It was 30.
So their deal has mainly been defense.
Yeah, the defense
Since
has been horrible.
week 13, they have been a bottom 3 defense statistically.
They didn't lose anybody either, did
letting
they?
up 30 points. I don't think they've really had any major injuries, but
a couple misses here and a couple missed games.
It's just really how it's been called. They were switching DCs, who's calling the defense, who isn't. Patricia's now calling it, and he hadn't been the same since he went to go be the head coach of the Lions. So he pretty much just has to go back with Bill and just kind of chill and just
go back to Daddy Billy.
And I hate to say it for the Eagles fans, but Hurts obviously broken finger most likely is what it looked like, and he's probably going to play. And then they lost
AJ
Brown. It's like they might lose in the wild card. He's not looking great for them.
Tampa Bay.
It isn't. Yeah, Tampa Bay.
Baker Mayfield.
I think with that offense and those receivers, they got a real good shot at beating them. But then it's just going to be a walkthrough for the next team whoever plays them. But that's neither here nor there. Then a couple other teams with no head coaches. Falcons, of course. Arthur Smith.
Another young team.
That job is a little bit tantalizing, Good enough defense, to be top 10. Really, just I think if you figure out the quarterback spot, you got yourself a team there. Yeah. Shore up the O-line just a hair. And you can do that in the draft easily. I know they're looking to either bring in a vet or trade up to get to one of those top 3 guys.
Who knows? Let's see what happens with Flacco after his Cleveland.
Yeah.
Joey. If he hits the free agency market, you'd be like, hey, buddy, you want to come?
They're not doing that. They want the long-term.
No. You bring somebody like him and you draft somebody young. That's someone good.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, you could do that with Taylor Heineke, though. I mean, he's
Heineke too.
well enough of a vet. And then, of course, the Panthers. That job.
Fire.
That job is just not fun. Whoever takes that job, Tepper has to go in and being like, you got to give this dude more than 1 year.
Tepper's gonna be walking around Charlotte going, "Do you want to coach the Carolina Panthers?"
Seriously, but the next head coach you bring in, you have to give them more than a year. I hate to say it, but you have to. They're coming in
because they can't do anything with a team if you don't give them a year.
This is not a team you can turn around in a year.
No, it's not. You don't have a first round pick. You have a young quarterback who, is still kind of shaky.
Nothing to throw to.
Yeah, you got nothing really to throw to outside of Adam Thielen. Your O-line is ugh, and the defense outside of Brian Burns is just kind of lacking. So
Derek Brown played well.
You got
over 100 tackles.
Yeah, but you just got to hope that you draft well. And you got to spend money in free agency.
What if they bring in somebody like a Mike Williams? Even if he's able to stay healthy, he could help that team. He's a big body, got speed.
I think they bring in.
They get rid of DJ Moore, their only offensive weapon, so they could go get the quarterback.
I'm in there with Cody. Bringing in T. Higgins makes the most sense. I don't think the Bengals are going to sign him.
Because that's a pretty loaded wide receiver room as well.
Well, you eventually got to pay Jamar. And Jamar's going to get the check way before T. Higgins, and you can't pay them both. And you got a decent enough third receiver in Tyler Boyd where you could grab a receiver in this class and do something with it. So Higgins is definitely gone. And, yeah, I could see the Panthers signing him for sure. And then you're kind of shoring up that room. Don't know what they're going to do with the running back spot. Personally, I would just say cut Miles Sanders.
Yeah, because
keep Chuba Hubbard.
Miles was a product of that offensive line in Philly.
He was, yeah, because, I mean, Swift's been doing great behind it for the most part whenever he got to play.
And Chuba Hubbard, he did all right behind that Carolina line, but Miles Sanders just couldn't find the holes, apparently.
Yeah, definitely not fun. And then Raiders, don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to keep Antonio Pierce or not. I think they should.
Yeah, I think they should.
But, you know, it all depends if you're wanting a guy that's got a little bit more experience but can still be a player's coach. There are guys out there that could easily go and do that, you know, like Brian Flores for the Vikings, Steve Wilkes for the 49ers. Like, there are guys that could, you know, come in and do a good job too, but I think Antonio Pierce has that locker room and he enjoys it. If you bring in a decent OC that can kind of revamp that offense, I see it to where you keep him and just kind of ride off into the sunset and see what happens. Give him a couple of years.
I think they're one of those teams that need a quarterback too, because obviously the Jimmy G didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Aiden O'Connell, don't get me wrong, he won some games, but he didn't put up any numbers. He's not great.
He's not.
Which is why Josh Jacobs lacked.
He's not the answer.
They just focused on the run because they're like, I don't know, this guy with the mustache, he's not gonna throw on us.
Well, your best bet here is you got to bring in a veteran. I don't see a rookie coming in being able to handle it.
No.
You'll be able to draw in a nice veteran because you have Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Josh Jacobs. I'm assuming going to be in the backfield. You know, got to figure out how they're going to handle that. So if you can maybe get that O-line tweaked a little bit, I see you can definitely bring in a veteran. You know, if he doesn't re-sign in Minnesota, I think Kirk Cousins would fit well there, you know. A couple other guys that are kind of up and down and whether they're going to be playing QB next year. But yeah, and I mean, you could definitely draft like a quarterback later on down that you would think, or, you know, just see how you fare with a veteran and play it off for a couple of years and then try to figure it out after. But right now, you got Devontae Adams, you got Jacoby Myers. That's a good wide receiver room. It's there, and they like that Trey Tucker kid. He's coming up. They're going to get rid of Hunter Renfrow, like we said last week. But it's still a good core, and you got the Michael Myers guy. So it's an attractive spot, but it's who you bring in for the OC, what kind of quarterback they like. You're either going to draft one and hope for the best, or you bring in a veteran. I would say bring in a veteran.
Yeah. Because they have 2 or 3 big offensive weapons, and their defense is pretty solid.
There was talks about them bringing in as somebody like Harbaugh. That would be the only person to me that would make sense if you weren't going to go Antonio Pierce, just because he has the faith of that locker room behind him. Just a few more decisions, you can be competitive. You know, at least if not more so than that. But yeah, you got a good solid core of your team. You just underperformed, like most of the people in your division. Also,
I mean, when Josh Jacobs went from first in rushing to, he was near the bottom most of the year. I think he came on towards the end and. He had a strong finish, but...
So, personally, I mean, he's probably not going to be staying. I think he's going to be on the move.
Yeah, that's a tough one for him.
And it's really just because the running back position has kind of become obsolete in where it's your main focus. Like, it helps if you have it, but, you know, if you got a guy that's able to, you know, rush for 700-800 yards and you're able to pay him $1 million, what do you care about an extra 200 yards from a guy getting paid $8? You know, that's my whole thing. So I feel like they could draft a running back, you know, in this draft class, grab a veteran off.
Put on a good show.
I mean, even Zamir White, their backup, wasn't doing bad.
He wasn't doing bad. No. So it's really, so there's no reason to pay the running back. Go use that money to go grab yourself a veteran QB. Or unless you want to draft a young guy and then go spend it on defense and O-line to really just kind of shore up everything else. But, yeah, in the end, it's going to come down to who's calling that offense as well and what type of offense they want to run. You definitely got to see what you have, and it's going to be more pass heavy. I feel whoever they bring in.
Yeah, especially if Jacobs has gone out the door, and with the wide receiver weapons they have.
Just go ahead and bring Carr back because it's not working in New Orleans. Just go ahead and bring him back.
He came on as of late, but it's probably not going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was hit or miss for him. We had this conversation with JP earlier, and it's like it took too long to get it going. Like at the end of the year, those last couple games, he had some big games, but there was too many games in between where it was
the other issue is there you're dealing with Dennis Allen, who he's a defensive guy as well. So
can't even get Jameson.
And they have a lot of weapons in New Orleans. It's like your offense should be fine on its own.
They have a lot, but they were dealing with a little bit of injuries.
Yep.
You know, Kamara was got hurt near the end. Michael Thomas was basically done for the year after like week 12.
Yeah.
And I mean their
and
tight
Juwan Johnson missed.
Their tight end position is so. I mean,
Yeah.
they have names that you've heard of, but they don't wow you on the field. So really, outside of Chris Olave, your only hope is if Shaheed is open and takes a thing 60 yards to the house.
And they need to use Taysom Hill more often because they do not utilize him like they should.
They don't want to pay him.
Well, they're different than how Sean Payton was too. Sean
Yeah.
Payton would use him every which way but loose. Unfortunately, with them, they don't know how to use him. So you got to bring in a person that's going to kind of know how to do that. If they decide to get rid of the OC. If not, it's more just, I think you got to build more around Carr. Michael Thomas, he was great, once upon a time, but unfortunately he's getting older. He's been more injured than, available. So I'd probably say dump him, grab yourself another rookie guy. Olave's well enough to where he can definitely lead that receiver room. Dump Jamal Williams, seriously. You bring him in, and he scores one touchdown on the final play of the series, and the team had to make that decision.
on a fake victory formation. Which
so
is
again, that's
low
wasted money at the running back position. There's been a few guys that have gotten those contracts that have just not performed whatsoever.
Zeke Elliott.
I don't blame Zeke. Dallas got rid of Zeke after because they thought they had it with Tony Pollard. But then you go and look at how Tony Pollard's year was this year. Not anywhere close. So I'm not really blaming Zeke on that. But it's more of the Miles Sanders.
Oh, yeah, Miles Sanders is a big one.
And Jamal Williams. You got these guys switching teams, taking the money. And just not performing.
Other than the touchdowns in Detroit, he didn't really have any other stats. He was just a touchdown machine. They gave the ball to him inside the 5-yard line.
That's my thing, valuable. Though. That's valuable. 6 points is 6 points. If you want to run 5 times and you score 5 touchdowns, I'll sign you all day. I need someone that's going to put it in the end zone. How many times have you seen it stopped at the 1? Or some dumbass runs a play and a guy gets hit in the backfield 3-4 yards in the backfield, and then you got a 2nd and goal from the 5, and then it's all screwed up. So it is what it is. I just feel like it's a waste. It's wasted money. You got that Kenyon Miller kid. I know he got hurt, but he'll be back next year. Mm-hmm. You got Kamara, who's literally just Christian McCaffrey, 3.0, maybe 2.0, however you want to figure it out. So it's like put the money towards something else, in my opinion. There, but it can definitely happen. But yeah, like I said, a lot of names that are available for those types of jobs. I think Vrabel and Harbaugh are the top tier of the names that are like like they're gonna have their pick of the litter. Ben Johnson as well, the OC for the Lions, with how well they've done, especially if they can sneak 1 or 2 playoff games, maybe get into an NFC Championship. That's gonna boost his stock. And then Dan Quinn definitely, and then you got other names that are floating around like Steve Wilkes, the DC for the Niners. He might get in somewhere, but I like how Cody was saying. People have been going more directional towards the OC guys when it comes to the head coaching job, and it's within good reason. Most of the top teams that are in are guys that had great head coaches that were OCs and kind of know how to run an offense. So it's going to be an interesting offseason with who gets hired, who gets fired. And then, like I said, still some question marks with Mike Tomlin, if he's going to stay in Pittsburgh. It's his decision to make. Steelers are going to keep him regardless. There's even talks of signing him to an extension. but it's really on how he feels. We'll find out after this week's playoff game. If by some miracle they win, he'll probably stay, but it just all depends. And then, you still don't know what's going on in New England with Bill Belichick. Is he staying? Is he going to pull the Carroll role where he's not going to coach anymore, but he'll kind of be an advisor? Or is he just going to leave? Because if he becomes available, he's right up there at the top of the list with the Vrabels and the John Harbaughs. It all depends on which direction you want your team to go. And then you got some decisions to make. But I'm excited for it. It's going to be very interesting to see who goes where, and I really think whoever picks the right coach, it's going to just vault them up to the next level.
The old coaching carousel starts.
That's literally what I was thinking. I was like, this is like the year of the coaching carousel. It's like, it seems like this year more than the last couple that I can remember, there's more coaches being tossed out and around.
No, it's about the same amount. It's normally like 7 to 10. The difference is
the bigger names.
The names that are getting tossed out. That's the huge difference. When you got Hall of Fame
the
coaches.
past year has just been people that you knew before the season was coming to an end. It's like, yeah, you've lost your job.
Yeah.
Like, with Staley, like we knew that night he was going to lose. We didn't know he was going to lose his job that night, but that night of the game, we'd already said.
You knew with Staley that he had to really turn around the season in order to keep his job. And the second Justin Herbert got hurt, it was pretty much writing on the wall.
And
that's different. But we're talking about
the ain't no call.
I know, but we're talking about Super Bowl winning coaches.
Yeah.
10+ tenured coaches, not being on their team, and that's what makes it, more intriguing, because you're hearing names that are like Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, Pete Carroll. If you told me at the beginning of the year all three of those guys were going to be questionable or not on their teams, I'd be like, I don't know what you're smoking, but pass it over because, wow.
Well, but Belichick maybe, because we knew New England wasn't going to have a great season.
But it's still Bill.
Yeah, it's still Bill.
You can't fire Bill Belichick. He's got to just decide to retire like Nick Saban. Alabama's never going to get rid of Nick Saban. Nick Saban was just going to have to leave on his own, which he did. Bill doesn't want to do that. So then it comes down to ego of Kraft versus Bill, this and that.
And it came down to the Mac Jones experiment.
That would be the most.
Not saying that was the definite nail in the coffin,
but
the
problem,
you stick with somebody that long, you trade them in and out, you bench them, you put
But the thing is, he's a first-round quarterback. The only difference with him is that he didn't go up to get Mac Jones.
No.
Mac Jones fell to him. He was in a very underwhelming draft class to begin with anyways. And, I mean, you got a Pro Bowl season out of him, and he made it to the playoffs his first year. So you can't really say it was a tremendous failure.
Can't even count Pro Bowls.
But then what happened, though? Not to say anything on Josh Daniels and everything, horrible head coach, but he knows how to run an offense in New England for sure. And Mac Jones was there that first year. And they had great. And then, they kind of got away from that, and now someone else is running the OC job there, and then it's turned to bad. So I'm not going to blame Bill for that. They needed a quarterback as Tom left. They grabbed who they liked in the draft, some that were even he was projected to be a top 3 overall pick, falls to you at 15. Yeah, you stick with him, especially when he's a first rounder. So I say it's not Bill's deal. Now, he's definitely had trouble developing players, and he has missed on other draft picks, but he still knows how to coach. So, personally, I don't think you fire him or get rid of him. I think you get someone as a GM in there who knows what they're doing.
You just have the most bland press conference that there's ever been. Just having Belichick announce it himself. Well, we played good football. No, we didn't play good football. So I'm going to step down from GM so we can play better football.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just walk off the press conference.
Oh, exactly.
Just the most bland press conference there's ever been.
So he made the Pro Bowl, his rookie year?
Yeah.
Maggie?
Yeah. So it's like, not great stats. So that's why I said you can't take Pro Bowls for any worth anymore. Not like what you used to, because it's a popularity contest.
I mean, but
3,800 yards.
But my thing is,
22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions.
But you're a rookie.
Nothing great.
But you're a rookie making the Pro Bowl. That's
votes. It's
that's
not.
tougher
It's
to do.
it's fans that vote for it.
Yeah, how many people hate New England?
More
How
people-
many
more
states
than
hate
like
New England?
I don't know. It
Almost
seems like
all
every
of
time
them.
they won a Super Bowl, they gained more fans.
More
No,
than
outside of Dallas, people do not like New England. So really, he had a good year. So and I'm just saying, yeah, he got one Pro Bowl, but I'm just saying he did well enough. And then once they lost the OC and they switched it up on him, then it was a downhill trajectory. So I mean, you can't really fully blame him. I mean, you move on from him for sure, especially if you're trying to do a whole new face of the franchise, especially with this draft class. But still, I don't really blame Mac. He'll get on somewhere as a camp arm. Definitely a backup with a chance to possibly start barring injury or this, that, and the third. So, again, it's really comes down to Robert Kraft and what he thinks about Bill Belichick.
Yeah, because you look at this, there are so many quarterbacks that finished with way more passing yards than him, but he still made the Pro Bowl.
Well, I mean, Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl with 2
That's what I'm
passing
saying.
touchdowns.
Yeah, you can't. It's a popularity contest. Like this year with the snubs that a lot of teams got, like Buda Baker getting in over Antoine Winfield.
But that's because you know his name. Mac Jones was a rookie. You don't really know his name. He was
New England fans
playing
do.
well enough. Yeah, trust me, the New England population isn't
But like
bigger
you
than
said,
the rest
Huntley
of
made it in that year. It was the year that he made it in the Pro Bowl where I'm like, you can't take the Pro Bowl for what it's worth anymore. Like, how
Yeah.
does somebody who only threw for 2 touchdowns and played, 2 games that year?
I think he
Or one
played.
game?
No, he started 4 games,
Did he?
2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions,
Yeah, and he got
and
in.
somehow made a Pro Bowl. And I think he threw for 600 yards in those 4 games.
Yeah, it's like
so.
it's all popularity. Like this year, I mean,
Yeah.
there's quite a few. There's a lot of people that made it that deserved it, but there are a lot of people who didn't. It's like it's just people know that name, and they're like, who else are they going to vote for? Where Winfield's still a name that people know, but he didn't get in, and he.
It's not as fun to say as
It's
Buda
not
Baker. Though.
Yeah,
as fun
it's-
to
I
say.
mean, Buda Baker. I mean, I love it.
And then
yeah.
Minka Fitzpatrick, he hasn't really had a great season for y'all, and he made it. And
But-
he missed quite a few games too.
But the deal is when he's on the field, though, he is the best safety or
But like you
top
said-
3.
Availability is what? The best ability.
Yeah, but when it comes to the Pro Bowl, all I'm saying is if I gave you a choice of Tyler Huntley and all the other quarterbacks available,
Tyler Huntley.
you're not going to pick Tyler Huntley. But with Minka, when he's on the field, his presence, he is a top 3 free safety. With Tyler Huntley, it was just, I don't even know how it even happened. I thought it was a goof. I thought someone just put his name like how people vote Mickey
I mean, if
Mouse
that's
for
the case,
president.
then like you could go back and be like, Dan Marino should have made every single Pro Bowl because it's like at his time when he played, if he's on the field and he's available, you're picking him. But he didn't because he didn't have great years every single year he's there. Now he probably made, I don't know the number, but I'm sure he made probably 80% of the Pro Bowls that
I don't know. Maybe
he played in. Same thing with Tom Brady. We all hate Tom Brady.
Touchdown, Tommy.
Well, the other reason why Tom doesn't have that many Pro Bowls is because he had to go play in a Super Bowl, so he didn't get to go.
No, I'm talking about just getting voted in general, not necessarily playing. We know getting the honors of being selected for the Pro Bowl back then when it was an actual honor. It was like, yeah, but you want to be the person who doesn't get to play in the Pro Bowl because you're in the Super Bowl.
And you look at all
Yeah, but Tom Brady
Yeah,
was
and then you look at
still,
all pro selection because now it's like the Pro Bowl is like, well, I mean, it changed when they moved it from Hawaii. That was the bummer for players. It's like, why would we want to go to Arizona to do stuff for the Pro Bowl? Like, send us to Hawaii where we can go sit on an island, on the beach, do some fun stuff.
It all
play a
changed
game.
when they
It's-
turned it to flags. So.
Like, I used to enjoy watching, like, the fastest thing in the NFL competitions and stuff like that. Like,
You send it to Hawaii. I think Deshaun Watson accepts every Pro Bowl invitation. Be like, I'll go get massages anywhere. But I think Tyler Huntley got voted into the Pro Bowl because I think he was a top 3 quarterback named Tyler. That's all I got.
That's literally it. That's all I can think of.
I mean, I can't think of any other quarterback named Tyler.
And it
That's
blows my
No,
mind
no.
too when people were talking about like the
Not even then, I
Steelers
can't even think
Ravens.
of it now.
Well, people were talking about like the Steelers Ravens game. They're like, they still got Tyler Huntley that's going to be playing quarterback, and he's a Pro Bowler. And I'm like, if he's a Pro Bowler, then
Me too.
yeah, me too. I'm a Pro Bowler.
We're Pro
as
Bowl
well.
fans here.
You can sign me up. I'll go play guard, and I'll probably do just as well as he does at quarterback. So.
Put me in, coach. I can throw strikes. Different sport.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I understand the Pro Bowl has lost its value and it's lackluster, so they definitely need to figure it out. They're trying stuff with all these stupid games and everything. It's still going to be a low viewership and all that, and them changing it to flag. It's not football. Unfortunately, if I want to go watch flag football, I'll go to like a 10-year-old's game and watch because it's going to be twice as entertaining watching them run the other way.
And they get intense.
And we know we coached them, so
I've been yelled at plenty of times as a ref.
Yeah. Yeah, those parents get intense, but
The kid's holding, and this one's dancing on the field. What do you want me to do?
the right tackle's been picking his nose for 5 minutes.
I only have one flag.
And you have that one parent. My kid's gonna go to the NFL. No, your kid's the only one that knows which direction the end zone is. That doesn't mean he's going to the NFL.
Right now, your kid's going to the outhouse.
The only one at the time was Lil Jones, Coach Jones' son. We knew he was gonna be something special, and I mean,
Well, that helped. He grew like 4 feet.
yeah, he did. Because he was always the smallest, and then his last time we saw him, I'm like,
He's a little fella.
what is he like, 6'2" now? I don't know what he's.
No, he's
I don't know what he
like
came in
6'3",
at.
6'4".
6'3", yeah. I would say I have no idea what he came in at, but
He's up there now. He's taller than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I might watch it, but it might just be something where I kind of drag about it. But I am excited for the playoffs, and probably take a little quick break, and then we'll get into Wild Card Weekend, see what we think's going to win, what we like, what we don't like. Because 2 teams on this panel are in the playoffs. So we get to really discuss about that, and one gets to chillax.
I get to
one
worry.
had a chance, and they were like, "Nah, we're gonna bench our
I
quarterback."
get to
Yeah,
worry about,
they didn't have
letting
a
Russ
chance.
cook.
They had a chance to make the playoffs like I have a chance to date Jennifer Aniston. So
I mean, it's there.
it's there, but
may not
it ain't
be a
happening.
parent.
The age gap might be your biggest benefit.
That's very true.
Just in case you're watching. Probably not, but just in case.
Yeah, just in case. Shout out.
We're back now,
Yeah.
We are.
We're back between downs.
and we're gonna talk about these playoff matchups.
Yes, the Wild Card Weekend. Super excited. Football 3 days in a row. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll kick it off with the first game. 6 seed Miami going to Kansas City, the 3 seed. And there's been some talks on this game. It's supposed to just be Ice Bowl 2.0. Temperatures below 0.
Are we in second game? We're the late game. I thought Saturday.
Who the fuck cares? Anyways, it's going to be cold
It is gonna be
as
cold as
shit. They are basically saying the wind chill is going to be in the negatives.
Like -2 is what they're saying.
We'll see how it goes. Kansas City, they've played in those games before. Miami,
Neither offense is built for that though.
we'll see. Not going to probably be a whole lot of passing going on, at least in the beginning. Now, once you're down in crunch time, then you got to start throwing. It's going to be a little different. But some fingers are going to be fucking hurting. That's for
yeah,
sure.
because we know. I was like, even living here in the South, it's like when they got a little chilly at night and you can see your breath. The balls are kind of hard.
Yeah, and
Really imagine
it's-
it -2. I mean, that's like throwing a cannonball.
Yeah. I like the matchup, though.
Kadarius Toney can't catch as is.
Yeah.
Very
Yes.
true. We'll see what happens because Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, they rested this past week. They pretty much had the 3 seed locked up, weren't going to try to move up, or they couldn't. And then we all know Miami lost to Buffalo, lost the division yet again. So now they're 6 seed, played on the road where they don't do as well. Dealing with a decent amount of injuries, especially on the defensive side and the offensive line.
We had some big signings though.
Couple of big
Recently.
signings.
Yeah.
Bruce Irving,
Bruce Irving.
Justin Houston, some veteran guys who have playoff experience. So I think that's going to help. But yeah, I think it really just comes down to who's going to be able to handle the cold the best. I'm not saying Miami can't, and
I think it's gonna come down to the run game. Really, in a game like this, you have to depend on the run game.
yeah.
So, and but with us, Mostert's, it's questionable. I don't know if he's leaning more towards playing or not. I'd imagine he'd be leaning towards playing.
I would think he is, especially.
Yeah, since this might be his. I mean, he's up there in age. It might be his last. Who knows?
last hurrah.
But with him and Devon, Devon played great the last 2 weeks when he was the primary back. He didn't disappoint. And of course, Pacheco doesn't disappoint. They're both solid, so it really just depends on.
Checo runs hard,
Yep.
and it's going to hurt
It
getting
just,
hit by him in the cold.
I think it comes down to the run game and then who can stop the run the best. And that's one thing. I think both teams have done well. Miami, this year we've done pretty well against the run. A whole lot of teams haven't ran against us, but with the injuries, we lost 3 linebackers against Buffalo. So
we feel. If I had to really say what's going to come down to, I think it's really going to come down to which quarterback shows up. To be honest with you, are you going to get playoff Patrick Mahomes, where he just walks onto the field and they put the W in the column, or is it going to be like what's been happening this
you're going to get
whole year?
2023 Patrick Mahomes, where it's like, yeah, you're a starting quarterback, but you're not the Mahomes.
But the thing is, this is the playoffs.
Yeah.
So experience counts for this, and him and Andy Reid in the playoffs, they've proven they can do it multiple times. 4 straight AFC Championship games. So,
and when we played each other earlier in the season, it was a great game. Neither quarterback really had great games.
Yeah.
We got shut out in the first half. We shut them out in the second half. It was literally a tale of 2 halves. Came down to a bad snap and a Tyreek Hill fumble. So, and even after that, it was like both teams, even though the score wasn't a high scoring game, both defenses played very well.
But you are, like you said, it's not the same defense.
No, it's not the same defense for us. And the weather is going to change a decent bit.
The weather is a big factor, and I think Kansas City playing at Arrowhead's going to be the other factor. I'm going to take Kansas City, but I think I'm going to take them by like 3.5.
Yeah, I think it could be a battle of the kickers too.
Could be.
Maybe very well could be.
But yeah, I just think Kansas City, you can't pay for that kind of experience that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have, and I think they're going to jumpstart it. Brand new year, brand new Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. They're going to probably figure out how to get Travis Kelce more involved, especially now that your linebackers are hurt too. That's going to open up the middle a little bit more. Plus, Xavier Howard's 50-50 as well. I'm going with Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City just because they've done it and Tua hasn't yet. But it is going to be close, and it wouldn't surprise me if Miami pulls it off, but I'm going to take Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Kansas City as well. It's gonna be a horrible conditions game, so like I said, the run game's gonna be important. And Isaiah Pacheco runs like a kid who you just asked, "How fast are you in your new shoes?"
And they light up.
Yeah. So I just think it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
I got to go with Miami.
I respect it.
Yeah, but I'm just hoping that both are coming back and Devon. I hope the two of them really put on a show on the ground and Wilson. Wilson's been there when the other two aren't working. He runs hard too. That's one thing that he does. So I think it just comes down to like we've all said, the run game. I think we have more depth at the run game. It's just whether or not we can get all of them going. I think is what it comes down to.
See what McDaniels got.
I do think it's the closest matchup game,
this
personally.
Weekend? Yeah.
Even if it's a 3 versus 6 seed, I would say it's definitely the one where it can go either way, and I would be excited with both. Next up, Browns going to Houston. They snuck in, won the AFC South because Jacksonville blew it. Boo! We'll talk about that in a minute. Even though Houston's playing at home and they're kind of riding a little bit of a hot hand, they got C.J. Stroud back, and Nico Collins definitely played out of his mind last week. He did that a couple weeks ago in fantasy, but it is what it is. I got to roll the Browns and Joe Flacco. He's got the experience. They are hot right now. That defense is still solid, and they're just playing great football. And again, it goes down to the experience. You got a rookie quarterback going in there, rookie head coach going into the playoffs. Kevin Stefanski's been there. Joe Flacco's been there, won a Super Bowl. So I got to go with the experience and the hotter team rolling into it. And that's the Browns.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. You can't bet against Flacco. You're not really sure what DeMeco Ryans has planned and what C.J. Stroud's going to be like in the playoffs, because the defense is one of the better defenses in the NFL that they got to face, and they make it hard on anybody, so they'll try to make it hard on Stroud as well. And I think if Joe's just safe with the football and doesn't have another 3 interception game, I think they take it easily.
Yeah, Cleveland. Both offenses have been putting up with Flacco. They haven't been putting up big numbers. Houston's offense is pretty high powered. Stroud's been playing great for rookie, but it's going to come down to Cleveland's defense. It's just going to be too much for that Houston offense, and I don't think Houston's defense is good enough to stop Cleveland. Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be that close. I mean, it could turn out where both quarterbacks throw for 300 plus, quite a few touchdowns.
They might.
I don't see it happening against that Cleveland defense.
Yeah.
But it could, because, I mean, CJ's found a way this year to do that, but I don't think it's going to be. I think Cleveland takes this, and I don't think it's considerably close. I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout, but I don't think it's going to be that close either.
I'll say over 10. Over 10 point
I was going to say,
difference.
I'd see a double-digit win. I think they roll into the final, couple drives with a lead where they're not too worried.
Yeah.
They just run clock, so... And, CJ's going to be having to throw the ball, which that's what that offense does primarily anyways with him, which...
That is, but Denzel Ward's been a lockdown
yeah.
corner, and I think he's going to pretty much pinch Nico Collins down, so then another receiver is going to have to step up. They don't have Tank Dell. Noah Brown's been kind of iffy with the injury. So we'll see.
In the run game, I don't think the run game is going to get going against that stout defense either.
Yeah.
So it's going to be primarily
Dalton
all on
Schultz.
CJ. Yeah. Dalton Schultz is going to have to step up and play a big role.
Very true. The next game, the one I'm really excited for, Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Can't believe we got in. Got to give shout out to Jacksonville. Way to suck down the stretch. We really appreciate it. Because I knew in my heart I couldn't trust Miami to help us get in. So the fact that Jacksonville did it early, I was able to enjoy the rest of my Sunday and just chill. Going into Buffalo, going to be a very windy ball game, which means kicking's going to be so is throwing the ball in the air, so it's going to be relying more on the run. Pittsburgh's run offense has really come up as of late. Najee once again able to get 1,000 yards for the season, starting off slow, then bumping up hot near the end like he did last time. The O-line's been pretty solid, and that team's just playing well behind Mason Rudolph.
And Warren's been a good change of pace for you.
Warren's been a good change of pace back, so I think it's going to come down to the running game. Buffalo hasn't been no slouch in the run game either. James Cook's been doing pretty well back there, and Josh Allen's Josh Allen. If he doesn't find something, he's going to tuck it and run. I know they're 10-point underdogs. I'm taking Pitt because it's Pitt. But if they can spy Josh Allen, which you're going to be able to afford, especially in a windy game, and kind of protect that middle from Dalton Kincaid, Joey Porter's going to lock down Stephon Diggs. I have pretty good reassurance about that because you're not going to be chucking too many deep balls with the wind and how it's going to be. So I think it's going to be playing short. So if those linebackers are able to spy Josh Allen, keep him inside the pocket, and protect over the middle, I think the Steelers have a shot. Yeah, you're playing without T.J. Watt. It's going to be a run. It's going to be a defensive end by committee on the other side of Alex Smith with Herbig and Golden. But they can do it. I mean, he got a sack last week. Golden did, so it's possible. And Josh Allen's Josh Allen. That man likes to turn the ball over. And Steelers are a top 5 team in turnovers. So people are saying, the line saying 10-point underdogs. It's going to be another Pittsburgh-type game where they play a great team, and it's probably going to come down to a field goal by either Tyler Bass or Chris Boswell. In that type of windy condition, we will see what happens. I'm going with Pitt, though.
I like Pittsburgh in this game with Josh Allen turning the ball over. He turned it over 3 times against Miami. Probably should have lost against Miami. Miami just couldn't put it together towards the end, and with their injuries on defense was still able to turn the ball over 3 times.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how Pittsburgh game plans without T.J. Watt and how they hope to get pressure on Josh Allen without T.J. Watt. But I think that they will be able to make the adjustments and put people in the right places to be able to at least. You can't stop Josh Allen, but you can try to contain him at least, especially when he starts to use his legs and run, because that's where he hurts you the most. I believe that they will be able to cause one too many turnovers for Buffalo to be able to pull it out.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Pittsburgh too, just because I watched the last game and Buffalo got lucky on 2 of their touchdowns. I mean, the tip pass, they ended up being a touchdown. I thought it was going to be another interception because it was,
Yeah,
and then
shocking.
the punt return where, we had Cameron Good got hurt, like 2 of our players ran into each other. It was a great return, but, it was just, everything fell into place for that return to happen. So really, I mean, they put together a couple good drives, but Allen turns the ball over a lot. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and like you said, we managed to get 3 turnovers and keep the game kind of close with half of our defense not being there. We had no Howard. Obviously, our defensive ends, Phillips being gone pretty much all year. He was there the first time we played him. We wasn't there this time, obviously. Chubb being out. We lost Andrew Van Ginkel, I think, in the second quarter.
Yeah,
He went out.
Jerome Baker in there.
Yeah, Jerome Baker was there. Ended up getting hurt, I think, in the third quarter. He had just came back from injury, so he still wasn't even 100%. So it was like, and that defense, I said it, I think last week, I even picked Buffalo to win because I was like, with the injuries, I don't see Miami pulling it out. And I was actually shocked that we kept it as close as we did. And I think y'all's defense is better than the makeshift defense that we've put together so far. People they knock Fangio, but the fact that he was able to put that defense on the field against Buffalo with all the injuries and still manage to hold them to 14 points on offense, and one of them came on a tipped pass that
it was just
everybody lost it, and the receiver just happened to be in the right place to catch it.
Right place
It was
right
just
time,
So I just think Pittsburgh's gonna be too much because Josh Allen, when he gets ahead of himself or he falls behind, he starts trying to do everything on his own, and that's when the turnovers start happening. Because he was down, and the turnovers started happening because he felt like he needed to take the game into his own hands.
Yeah.
Wild couple of throws.
And some wild throws. Like, granted, one of them was on 4th down, so it was basically a punt.
Yeah.
And the guy should have knocked it down, but the other one that was on 3rd down, it was like, that was just a crazy throw. Like, some of those throws were
trying
just
to do too
awful,
much.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm in agreement, and like I said, it's the one big factor is the weather.
Yeah.
If it was a clear, sunny day, it's a different ball game. But that wind,
But it's Buffalo in January.
it's that high wind, and it's not like you're playing, a Southern team that plays in a dome all year or plays out west where there's no snow.
But y'all play in the same weather.
This is Pittsburgh, baby. They play in the same shit. So it's a completely different, type of game. And that wind is going to be a humongous factor. And for me, if you're Pittsburgh's defense and you want to try to mess with Josh Allen to make up for losing T.J. Watt, you're going to have to blitz. You're going to have to blitz a lot. I think they're fourth or 5th in the league in blitz percentage. Pittsburgh is at like 25%. You're gonna have to go even further. You're gonna have to go at least a third of your play calling on defense is blitzing. And if Josh Allen somehow pulls something off, great. But more times than not, he's not going to be able to. And I think you're going to have a shot, especially because I think they had some issues with their left tackle last week too, Dawkins. He was kind of dealing with some stuff.
And he had
a cut hand.
Yeah, he had 2 defensive players that went out too that I don't think are going to be playing.
And got stitches
Yeah.
and came back in the game.
So we'll see. So
I think it'll be another good game though.
It'll be a good game. And like I said, Pittsburgh's riding a nice hot streak right now, 3 wins in a row. And they're just playing well behind Mason, and the run game's been solid. And the fact that it's going to have to come down to that run game makes me feel more that Pittsburgh's going to take it. It'll be close, though. It's going to be another Pittsburgh game where they maybe win by 3.
It'll be fun to watch at home.
It will.
You'll see it be cold and windy. You'll just be sitting there
Oh,
going,
it won't be
"It's
fun
not-
for my girl. She's going to be pissed.
It's
I
not
told her,
here."
I'm like, yo, 1 o'clock. The TV is on the Steeler game. She's just like, oh, shit. Then the next game, Green Bay at Dallas. Green Bay sneaking into the playoffs. Dallas getting some help from Philly and pretty much walking into the 2 seed thanks to their easy win versus the Commanders.
But even with that huge lead, they waited too long to pull starters. I think they lost 2 defensive starters also.
I'm not quite sure, but it's still Dallas. They're hot at home. They average almost 40 points at home. They're at home. They're versus Green Bay, whose defense is just not that great. Jordan Love's been playing good enough, but it's more that Dallas's offense versus that Green Bay defense is so much more than
But it is
Green
playoffs.
Bay offense versus Dallas defense.
It is playoffs. Dallas in the playoffs is different than regular season.
Not this game. I would just say it like that. I think the opponent they're versing, unfortunately, is just not worthy enough for them. And to be honest, with the NFC, there's only a few teams that I feel like could definitely make a solid run, and two of them are playing each other, this week anyways, with Lions Rams. So that's why I'm saying they pretty much lucked out with Green Bay. Dallas going to take this one pretty easily. I'm going to say probably at least 14-point differential in the win. Just because, one, you're dealing with, again, the experience. Jordan Love, first-time starter. It's different than playing in the playoffs, and it's a lot different than playing the fucking Bears,
The Bears.
So, yeah, it's not going to be close. But it'll be a good experience for Jordan Love, Pretty much solidified his deal as the starter for Green Bay for the future. They'll build around him, and this will give him some experience. But barring some miracle, I have to roll with Dallas, unquestionably.
Yeah, this is going to be Mike McCarthy's revenge game.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. was with Green Bay, now with Dallas, and now with a very hot Dallas team.
He's been itching for it.
Yeah, I don't see this going well for Green Bay at all. I do like the way that Jordan Love has played and has solidified himself as their franchise guy. But this one's going to be rough. It's your first playoff game going against a team that's rolling hotter than most teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So I don't see it going too well for Green Bay.
I might even change it to over 20. Now that you said McCarthy, Green Bay,
Yeah.
he wants revenge, and I think he's going to
It definitely
put
might be.
foot on the throat for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go Dallas too. Like you said, the offense is too high-powered. Do I think there's a chance that they could lose? Yeah, it's Dallas in the playoffs. They tend to find a way.
I mean, any given Sunday, anyone can lose.
Yeah, I mean, but...
Panthers beat the fucking Falcons.
Yes. But, yeah, with that offense, they put up points, especially at home. It's in a dome. It's...
Them at home, yeah. Now, if they were on the road,
If
somehow Philly was able to win the division and they were on the road, we're talking a little bit different here. But, yeah, versus Green Bay at home, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then my second favorite matchup, Lions-Rams. We got another kind of revenge thing happening. They had the QB swap trade back in 2020. Matt Stafford goes over there, wins them a Super Bowl, something he couldn't do for the Lions organization. Goff gets cast aside by the Rams because he couldn't win them a Super Bowl versus New England. And right now, Lions are playing hot, but so are the Rams. Rams are just something about it.
They came out hot at the end of the year.
Yeah, they came out hot at the end of the year. I'm still going to roll with the Lions. They don't have Sam Laporta, because they waited too long, wanted to play all the starters, trying to fight for seeding, and they lost him, so it's definitely going to hurt them a little bit. But they still got the two-headed running back monster. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond's that way, a few other people.
Yeah,
Reynolds.
Still sneaks in there.
And they still have a top-tier O-line.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down to which Jared Goff shows up, that's for sure. We know which Matt Stafford's going to show up, but it's going to come down to can they stop Kyren Williams, which I think they're going to do. That defense is strong enough to where it's going to be able to. But I think it's going to be closer than what some people are thinking. I'll definitely take the Lions. I'll probably say it's going to be a one-score game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's hard to go against Dan Campbell playing at home, and his team's going to come out and they're going to be ready and prepared. And it's going to be a tough battle for them all around. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a good, solid playoff game. It's going to be a good matchup. Stafford coming back for revenge. Goff looking for revenge as well. I think the Rams have peaked at a good time because it's right around the playoffs, but I think you're running into a Lions team that I don't think you can beat.
I'm going to go Rams. I think they got the playoff experience. The offense is clicking. They got a lot of offense weapons.
Puka.
Yeah, I mean, you got Puka, Cup, Williams. I mean, it's with just those three, and Williams has been playing lights out. He's really kind of solidified his job there for at least next year.
At least another year.
Yeah.
Running backs, you're never sure how long you'll be there.
Yeah, and Matthew Stafford, he's getting there in age. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be his last one, but it very well could be. And why not go out, either losing to your old team or beating him and seeing how far he goes. Now, like you said, I think the winner of this game could potentially make a decent push in the playoffs because they're both high-powered offenses. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. But I like the winner of this game, regardless of who it is, to make a decent run or give the next team a pretty good run for their money, especially with the Rams, sneaking in. So
yeah, I mean, if the Rams win, they're going to be, barring a miracle by Green Bay, they're going to be playing San Fran, division rival. You played them twice this year. Anything's possible when you play a division rival.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I'm hoping for Pitt. I would love Pitt to win and then
take on Baltimore.
Go take on Baltimore, get the clean sweep, take 3-0. Just something about it. And I think TJ would make his way back from that MCL sprain for sure. Like people are saying, he'll need 3 weeks. Nah, if he's playing Baltimore, my man's coming back too. 1,000%. Last game for the wild card weekend, Philly at Tampa Bay. Philly, lost 5 of the last 6, pretty much dug their own grave. Getting an away game. In Tampa Bay, someone had to win the NFC South, and they did it. And they had probably the easiest game to do it with. I mean, Dallas had the Commanders, and they thought that was a walk in the park. They had to play freaking Carolina Panthers with a nice shutout to end their season. And you know what? It was actually good because they had a real bad game. They had a very bad game, but luckily you were playing the worst team in the NFL. And good time to have your bad game. You're still able to win the NFC South. You got the shakes off of your bad game. You get to roll into the playoffs. And you got a home game versus a team that the defense has been bottom 3 since week 13. And you got a great passing attack with Evans, Godwin, and all them. And Rashad White coming out of the backfield. It's really going to come down to Baker on this one, I feel.
Because Hurts being banged up.
And Philly still doesn't have an identity on offense, and their defense being not so great, and they're just kind of, I feel like they've checked out this year. Tampa Bay's got the home game. If Baker shows up, the Baker that's, can play great and throw 300 yards and click on all cylinders, they're going to win pretty easily. It comes down to Baker. I've picked Philly almost every week now, and unfortunately I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to go with the Baker train. Choo-choo. Tampa Bay's going to win it. I wasn't thinking anything like they were. I thought the NFC South game was going to be a walk in the park, but Philly fell to it, and they just have not been playing great football. And even though it is the playoffs and the slates are clean for the year, they're still trying to get over a devastating loss to the Giants. The Tyrod Taylor-led Giants, and it wasn't even close.
And losing one of their primary offensive weapon in the process.
Yeah.
Not only do you lose the Giants, you'll lose A.J. Brown.
Yeah, so I got to roll with Tampa Bay on this one. Pretty close. I'll say probably 1 score, just because Philly might pull some magic out, but I got to roll with Tampa Bay.
You just got to put it in the oven. You got to bake it with Baker. That's what we're doing. We're putting Philadelphia in the oven. Because it's going to be a Baker show, and I'm going to roll with Baker Mayfield.
Great British Bake-Off.
Yeah, I got to go to Tampa Bay as well. I think the injuries for Philadelphia on offense is just... losing A.J. Brown, that was big. Don't get me wrong, they still have Devontae Smith, still got Dallas Goedert, but A.J. Brown was the it factor for them on offense.
Yeah.
And you don't know which Jalen Hurts is going to show up either. Because the finger he broke was on his throwing hand too, I believe, right?
His middle finger on his thumb.
Yeah, so that's your middle finger. When you throw, that's like one of your primary gripping fingers. So
it's the biggest one.
Yeah. Who's their backup? I don't even know.
Marcus Mariota,
Yeah, so,
the flying Hawaiian.
Yeah, you can't come out with him. I mean, you can't count him out with him as a backup, but he's not Jalen Hurts either. So, but I got to go Tampa Bay. Like you said, Baker Mayfield, if he has a good game and puts on, his 250, 300-yard passing game and gets Godwin and Evans involved, it's not one or the other, I feel like they go in. Don't get me wrong, they've won games with one primarily doing it all, but if they get both involved, Cade Otton could be the X factor. He's been pretty non-existent all year. Could be the time he finally shows up.
Well, like you said, with all these injuries, it just feels like now I think a lot of teams next year are going to be looking at that and being like, you got to one look at the schedule and kind of see like what's happening. Like, for Philly, I mean, I understand trying to win the division, you want to stay in there, but when you see a hot team like Dallas versus the Washington Commanders, who are, bottom 2, bottom 3 in the league, probably don't need to play anybody. Lions, same deal. You see they're playing the Commanders. There's no way you're going to move up in seeding or lose in seeding. Why play everybody? Like a series or two, that's fine. But all the way to the third, fourth quarter, now you lose your promising young tight end.
Who's your number 2 passing weapon?
That's going to hurt you, And so it's definitely making people think, that's for sure. But yeah, like I said, a lot of exciting games. Most of them should be relatively close. Outside of like Dallas, Green Bay, I feel like that's just going to be a wash. But other than that, should be pretty exciting.
Yeah. I think that pretty much wraps up the wild card weekend.
Yeah, and then we'll come back next week to see who's playing in the divisional round, make some nice picks there.
There's going to be some good games this weekend.
Yeah, but we'll take a little break, and then we'll get more into the other sporting news of football. We got the college football national championship, got to discuss that. A couple things around the NBA, sort of just tie it all together.
Yep. So how about those Michigan Wolverines?
How about...
Like I said, I called it way back when we first started for the bowl season. I was like, Michigan's to lose, and they won it in sure fashion. That run game really just went to town in the first quarter. It was insane. I think 174 yards in the first quarter. That's pretty impressive.
On like 3 carries.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what I figured. Basically, Washington ended up having to play the number 1 defense in the country, a top-tier defense. They just couldn't hang, and Michigan went back to playing regular Michigan football. Run the ball, run the clock, build the lead, let your defense do the talking. Because, I mean, and no offense to J.J. McCarthy, I'm sure he's a fine quarterback, but he didn't do any justice for his draft stock in these past 2 games.
Running backs are like your draft stock.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, people still have him as a top 5 on their board for the quarterback position, but he's most likely probably going to be a day 2 pick. Second round would be my guess, along with like Bo Nix and them.
He'd be one of those guys where if a team actually listens to us and drafts 2 quarterbacks, he's the second one you take.
I just read that Bo Nix might go number 10. Somebody had him
10 overall?
Yeah, somebody had projected to go number 10.
So there's some talks there, because I think Michael Penix definitely helped his case in the semi game. This game, he missed some throws that he normally doesn't miss.
And he had some bad decision making, because like we said, on the first drive, or one of their first drives where they got all the way downfield, it was 3rd and goal, they ended up having to settle for a field goal. The defense Michigan was showing them was pretty much no linebackers. It was 4 down linemen, everybody else in coverage, and he had nobody between him and the goal line, and he threw a crazy up-in-the-air ball, and I was like, you're not known for running, and Michigan knows that? I was like, but you have to run it, and he finally decided to run it a couple times in the second half, and guess what? He got like 8 yards each time, and it's like, you should have done that on the first drive, because I think them holding them to a field goal killed Washington's momentum, because they went right down the field just like Michigan did, but both teams went right down the field on their first drives.
Yeah.
No problem. But then they got down there and they just stalled out because they don't have a run game to finish off the drives.
Yeah.
And Penix, they just relied on him, and he's got that long body and he's got leg. Like, he has it, when he does run, he shows the ability. He just doesn't. It's like he's afraid.
Well, with Penix, it's never been a part of his game. He'll learn that in the NFL. He's going to get someone to teach him that. Like, hey, look, you got to learn sometimes to tuck and go. You have the slide for the reason.
Take the yards when you can get them, because in the NFL, you don't come by them all the time.
Yeah, but like I said, he helped his stock in the semi game more than he did this game. He missed some throws, and like I said, it was all the offense was running through Penix, and if he doesn't play lights out, then what happened is what's gonna happen.
And then
you
offensive
end up
line
losing
kind
by
of
3
folded
scores.
against Michigan's front.
You were playing him. You were playing at the number one defense.
Yeah, it's the number one defense.
It wasn't in question to anybody that they played against if they were the number one defense or not. Penix, I think he did well enough to not hurt his draft stock. It didn't really help it either. But like that's one of the first times you've faced a very, very good defense. That's only going to give you a few options, and if you don't take them, you're going to struggle heavily on the offensive side. And I think that's just what Washington faced.
Yeah, I think he still threw for like 260 plus yards.
And he had a couple where
touchdowns.
the receivers misplayed the ball. Like it wasn't necessarily on him. Like the one where the receiver was open and he slowed down to look back, and Penix had already thrown it, and then he had trouble catching back up to it.
It's kind of a 50-50. He had some where his receivers let him down, but he had some where he had guys wide open, and he just missed them completely.
Like
whether it was an overthrow or didn't even
terrible.
see him.
Yeah, he didn't play terrible for the defense that he was playing. Like he played okay.
Yeah.
Like, probably better than some people expected.
He could have folded big time.
He could have folded big
very
time.
Well could have, because that defensive line got to him pretty early.
Yeah, he established himself as probably the fourth quarterback in this draft class. And then you got J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix kind of fighting for that 5th, 6th spot.
And it depends on pro days and stuff like that. But as of right now, based on this season,
pro days are pro days.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's pro days great. They'll go out and throw 50 balls and they'll complete 48 of 50. You know, and they'll be like, "Oh, he didn't miss a throw." It's like, well, yeah, no shit. He knows what everyone's running, and there's no defender.
I mean, pro days are it's just for them to show teams, like, if there's a weakness in their game or someone tells them that there's a weakness in their game, they go on that pro day and show them, no, I can make these throws. I'll show you. But there's no pressure. You're just sitting back there throwing to a guy where there's no defense. Yeah. It's like...
He can make that.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I mean, if you're Michael Penix, the one thing I would recommend that you do on your pro day is roll out to your right since you're left-handed, and then throw a ball 50 yards, which I'm sure you can do while you're on the run. It worked for Josh Allen, it worked for Will Levis, it worked for Zach Wilson, and all of them got drafted high. So do that.
Yeah, just prove you can make a throw that people don't think you can make, that you'll never really do in the NFL once, and it'll be fine. You know, Jamarcus Russell threw 70 yards from his knees. Number 1 overall pick. So, I mean, that's what they're looking for. Hell, throw one behind your back 40 yards.
Yeah.
And guess what? You'll probably be picked number 1 overall.
Just have someone standing close to catch and be like, that was a completion.
Yeah, pro days are just useless, really. I mean, really, they're there to, like, see if you can throw the ball far. Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
That's basically all it is. It's like, show I can throw running this direction or that direction, or I can hit, a 50-yard fade route back corner with accuracy, but... they're not practicing posts across the middle. They're more like fades in the end zone, deep sideline, those out plays, maybe a quick slant. But again, it's all about. He's got better game film than a lot of these guys, so I just feel like J.J. McCarthy is going to be. He didn't help himself whatsoever. He hurt more than helped, but. Yeah, like I said, it came down to how it went. The running game was awesome. Blake Corum definitely helped his draft stock for sure. And Edwards, I think he's young. Was he a freshman? Sophomore?
I believe he's a freshman, to be honest with you. So
he did the most with his first 2 carries.
Yeah. Well, he's always been that guy where it's like, 6 inches of daylight and he's gone, and he proved that. And they got a solid squad coming back. Jim Harbaugh, obviously not going to come back. He's going to go to the NFL. He doesn't want to deal with the sanctions, doesn't want to deal with any of that NCAA mess anymore, so he did what he wanted to do when he went to Michigan. He beat Ohio State 3 times, won the Big Ten 3 times, got to the college football playoffs 3 times, finally won the national championship, and he's going to ride off in the sunset knowing that he did his alma mater right. I don't predict him to be the favorites next year. Because of that, they're going to be dealing with some sanctions from the NCAA still. You're not having Harbaugh back there anymore. You're losing a couple of key guys on offense and defense. But, for now, they are the national champions. Proud of them. Glad they got over the hump. And that was my team to pick to win. And I'm glad they did. So
Yeah, brother-in-law's happy. Huge Michigan fan.
probably got drunk.
I'm sure he was.
I was still feeling it.
Yeah. Brandon asked me, he's like, you guys keep picking against us. I'm like, we didn't pick against you any of the times. I was like, we said against Alabama it was going to be close. I was like, and y'all had the upper hand. I was like, because neither team played great to lead into that.
Regardless, Brandon, I picked them to win both games. They were my team from the start, so you're welcome.
Barring, the worst center in college football, I might not have made it past Alabama.
Who knows?
Alabama played you well.
Well, like I said, that was their worst game. You had Blake Corum with under 100 yards that game. I think scored once. J.J. McCarthy throws an interception on the very first play. Luckily, gets called back. But yeah, they didn't play great. But they also were kind of getting away from their identity versus that Alabama team. Versus Washington, they went back to it. That won them all their games. Run the ball, control the clock. McCarthy make a throw, when they're in the third and long situation. Don't screw up. Don't turn it over. And get down there, score, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, and then let the defense do what they got to do. And that's exactly what they did, and that's how they won.
Yep.
Yeah, so. Well, we'll see next year. Should be interesting. More news from the NBA standpoint. Draymond back in the league. For now, yeah. Back with the Warriors, who have just been trash lately. Not playing great. But I'm glad he got away, got the time to figure out what's going on with him. Actually, there was talks to him he wanted to retire, and Adam Silver's like, I can't let you do that. You're going to make a rash decision based off of this. Let's work through it, get you back in the league, and just work on things to make you a better overall player, where you still have your edge, but you're also not choking out people on the court. We got to find some nice middle ground. And
It was nothing. It was showing a little wrestling.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that because he is a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's not your typical, whoa, I do this, I do that. To be honest, he's kind of like Dennis Rodman, to be honest with you.
Kind of.
Comparison. That was the comparison that I was going to draw, and then maybe this suspension was like his Las Vegas trip.
Yeah.
Just get everything right and get you back into the league, and hopefully you've made a couple of tweaks to where you can stick around for a little while, because defensively you're the heart and soul of that Warriors team, like with making defensive calls and making sure everybody's in the right place. So like they need you back, and they obviously benefit when you're back in the lineup. So hopefully we're not punching anybody or choking anybody. Gobert.
Yeah, keeping him in there.
Yeah, just...
We'll see. Now, don't get me wrong. If it happens again, I have no clue what's going to happen. The league's probably going to throw its hands up if it's like a severe one.
Be suspended indefinitely.
Yeah.
I would
indefinitely.
It'll probably be season ending. They'll just be like, you got to just take the year and really think about how you want to do this. But I think that, like I said, the time away... They're halfway through the year right now. Warriors aren't exactly playing championship or playoff caliber basketball, which might actually be good for them, because it's like, I don't have to be my old me, which won us all those championships and made us the team that we were. I can kind of work on my new self and see how it works with this team that's, probably not going to be together at the end of the year. Klay Thompson probably is going to get moved on from because he's not the same. Andrew Wiggins, they're already looking to trade him off, basically, and get whatever they can. So it's really just going to be Steph and Draymond left over, and then, try to work yourself around that. But, we'll see. And then Ja Morant, finally came back from 25-game suspension, was playing great. I think won Western Conference Player of the Week.
Oh, his first week.
Yeah, in his first week back, and then sure enough, boom, shoulder surgery, out for the remainder of the year. So Grizzlies are going to stink again for the remainder of the season, which, it's too bad because they do have a solid squad over there. But yeah, without Ja, you're just kind of twiddling thumbs and just trying to do your best to compete in the heavy West, and unfortunately, just not going to be the case.
It's unfortunate. He was a fun player to watch when he was on the court. So it's tough to see him. Tough to see his season end at any point in time. But hopefully he can get healthy and they can be something to go with next year.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, local product, South Carolina kid, had some ups and downs. And like I said, Memphis was playing great. I think in like the 10, 12 games he was back, they were above 500. I think won almost as many games as they had won before he was there. So yeah, it's too bad for them, but maybe they'll make some moves during, this season or the off season to try to, prepare for next year and get everything squared away. And then, because it's getting to be a tough NBA season right now. I mean, like I said, Minnesota Timberwolves are playing lights out, which is shocking. They're normally middle of the pack tier. Are they going to be able to keep up with it and keep Denver at bay? We'll find out because, Joker's Joker doing his thing. And then the East side, you're dealing with, the five-headed monster of the Celtics starting lineup. You got Lillard and Giannis over with the Bucks. And, I mean, the Sixers are still relevant. I mean, Joel Embiid's leading MVP conversations right now. And Maxi's throwing up 27, 28 points a game at the point guard position. So it's all pretty close-knit in, like, the top 3, top 4 for each conference. I still think Celtics are the team to beat with that starting 5. That starting 5 is just ridiculous. And when they're on and everybody's healthy, they are the team to beat, hands down. Bucks are right in that mix. Like I said, Giannis, Lillard, Middleton, they have, enough to kind of get stuff rolling in. But it's still the Celtics to lose in the East. And then, like I said, Jamal Murray finally came back. Denver's stronger than ever. Joker's still Joker.
Just nonchalantly just dominating basketball.
Yeah, triple-double almost every night if he wants to. So I still think Denver is the team to beat in the West, even though I am a Lakers fan and they're playing okay.
No. You're a LeBron James
I
fan.
am a LeBron James
Not
fan.
a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
Well, he's on the Lakers, so right now I am a Lakers fan. So
LeBron James got hurt, you'd be like, eh. Move on
no, I would still watch them because he's eventually going to come back.
Yeah.
Ernesto is a Lakers fan.
Yeah, he was a Kobe Bryant fan.
Still
And just Kobe never left the Lakers.
Kobe never left the Lakers.
Yeah, so again, it's going to come down to those teams. The Clippers have been coming back a little bit too. Their niche has finally came together. Russ coming off the bench, Harden kind of retaking over. They just signed Kawhi to a 3-year extension. I think, $152 million. So he got his money. Good thing for those fully guaranteed contracts. Now, I don't know how they're going to handle the luxury tax come next year, especially with James Harden, Paul George, and Russ. Someone's going to be out the door soon. We'll find out. Most likely Russ or George. But, yeah, they're coming on as of late. A few other teams here and there. Like I said, the most surprising one right now is Minnesota. I don't think they have enough to keep Denver at bay unless they make a move in the before the trade deadline. But there are some players.
Coming up, right?
It's coming up fairly
coming up
soon.
It's coming pretty soon.
And there are some players out there that are getting shopped.
February?
No, that's when the All-Star break is. I want to say it's like late January. But, you got guys like, yeah, yeah, look it up. So you got guys, RJ Barrett just got traded from the Knicks to Toronto, and he's been playing freaking great over there. I think Quigley went over to, or Quickly, it was Quickly. Quickly went over to New York. They're trying to figure it out with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. If they can get it working, the Knicks can be dangerous in the East and, maybe squeak into the 4 or 5 seed and make a run in the playoffs.
Always got to watch out for Miami in the East.
Miami, they just signed Spoelstra to 8 years, $120 million. And yeah, I mean, with
February 9th.
February 9th, yeah. So if they get healthy, stay healthy with Jimmy, Tyler Hero, they just had Bam Adebayo back. So they got a solid squad. And that rookie kid, it's like Ramirez or Jimenez, I forget where he's out of. Jalen something.
Jamie Vasquez or something.
Jamie Vasquez, yeah. He's been playing great ball as well. So a lot of teams, that are able to compete. But like I said, there are just 3-4 teams in the league that are cut above.
Yeah.
And that's just because they made the moves in the offseason. But like I said, deadline's coming up. The Bulls are looking to make some moves. Zach LaVine, I think, is on the block. A couple other people. Andrew Wiggins supposedly is going to be looking to get traded. So some teams can maybe grab some pieces, make some moves, and really make a push, before the All-Star break, and then really, hit their stride heading into the NBA playoffs. So it should be exciting. Plus got to watch something after the Super Bowl, so might as well be that.
Transition into seasons.
Yeah,
luckily, when baseball really gets started, football is pretty much coming back.
Yeah.
In some sort of fashion, because it's like, who watches baseball?
I'll watch it. I'm excited for the Yankees. They're making some moves, putting some big names out there. They're trying, but, it's still young in the year. They're still trying to figure out a pitching rotation, get another solid arm in there outside of Garrett Cole, and maybe one more bat that's able to get on base. Because they got home run power. It's more about getting on base. Outside of DJ LeMahieu, they really don't have anyone that's able to get on base. So
just hit solo home runs.
Yeah, just hit solo home runs. But we'll see. It's pretty exciting, though. Hopefully we'll have some more sports stuff going on next week, in regards to the other with, basketball, it getting deeper in, baseball's fully starting, and then we got, the draft coming up, we're finally seeing what draft order teams are going to be, so probably in one of the next few episodes, when positions are a little bit more solidified, we'll be able to maybe do some mock drafts, dive a little bit deeper into it, see who we think's going to draft what or who. Teams might move back, teams might, try to move up, and see what our teams need and who we think they might go after. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Just because the NFL season's ending doesn't mean that
football never ends.
Yeah, football never ends. There's always something to keep you busy. Whether it's the combine, the draft, the preseason, fantasy, it's all intertwined, and we're gonna keep the information flowing, and hopefully, everyone subscribes and watches.
Yeah, the only other big news we didn't cover was the Tiger Nike. That's the only other sports move. It's more of just a generational thing, not necessarily sports anymore. I mean, it is sports related, but when you get Tiger and Nike are splitting up, that's pretty big news across the board. No matter who you are, everybody knows who Tiger Woods is, basically.
Yeah, well, Nike is Nike, so that ice machine. Yeah, but Nike's not exactly going to be hurting. Will their sports division, especially the golf side, take a dip for sure?
Oh, but they don't make golf clubs anymore, so I think they're trying to. The only thing they do for golf is clothing.
Yeah.
They don't make clubs anymore. They stopped making clubs. I want to say 7 years ago. I want to say 2017. That's somewhere around there.
Yeah, but like I said, either way, it's they're with golf. Their main thing is apparel, and there are plenty of dudes out there that own themselves a red shirt and black pants, and just for Sundays. So, it's a sad partnership to see go away, but Tiger will land on his feet. He ain't exactly hurting for the cash right now. I'm sure someone will sign him. Saudi Arabia might just come a-calling, and he'll just be like, I could use an extra $300 million.
Yeah, they've already called him.
They offered him a bill.
Yeah, they offered him $1 billion before. They offered him $1 billion to run it.
Yeah.
He was the first person.
They They may still show up with that offer.
Yeah, I think they're not going to stop till they get Tiger Woods' name on their brand.
I think Tiger doesn't care about the money anymore.
We've said that about a bunch of people, and
but
they've been scooped on over.
Those people didn't have the bankrolls that Tiger's been.
I don't know if John Rahm's really hurting for money.
No, none of them are hurting for money when you're looking at it from our point of view. But if you're looking at it from Tiger's point of view compared to John Rahm's hurting for money. That's like, if you look at basketball players, it's like, yeah, they're not hurting for money. But if you look at it from Michael Jordan's standpoint, they're hurting for money.
Well, Michael Jordan actually didn't make any money from basketball. He made it on from Nike.
But at the time that he was playing, he was making tons of money from his Jordans and stuff. I mean, now he's worth what? It makes over $1 billion a year just from Jordan?
I forget how much he makes off of Jordan a year, but yeah, that's just from Nike, though.
Yeah, I think annually Nike makes like $6 billion just off of Jordan.
Yeah, I think I believe
he gets a big percentage.
He makes I think he makes like $600 million a year off of Nike.
Something crazy.
Maybe Tiger will go to Jordan brand and build a Jordan brand golf.
Well, that's one of the things that
we can hope. I'd love to see a little logo on a club.
That's what they were talking about. Was like all the time that Tiger spent with Nike. Yeah, he had his Tiger Woods line of clothing, but they never made like a signature product like Jordans for Michael Jordan. Like they could have made a golf shoe similar to Jordans for Tiger Woods, and they'd probably be the #1 selling golf shoe. 100%.
If Tiger Woods saying. One of these other companies, whether it's Adidas.
Well, yeah, because he gets to take the TW line goes with him.
Under Armour, maybe.
Yeah, Under Armour probably snag him.
I mean, there's a bunch of different.
TaylorMade, you could have Oakley, you could have a bunch of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different clothing. Like, he's gonna go with one of the big ones though, if I had to guess, unless he has friends who are in the business.
I say he goes to Puma and says, "Look, I'll say it, you got to kick Ricky Fowler out. I want that orange."
Yeah, but could you see Tiger in orange? I mean,
I could.
He's always been red, even though
I could see Tiger in an orange shirt with some stripes running across.
If you're gonna put him in a Tiger shirt, go put him in a Tiger shirt.
Yeah, really make it worth it.
Yeah. Just run the puns. Put him in Tiger pants or a Tiger shirt.
Yeah, because at this point, he's not exactly going to be winning championships anymore.
Have him sign with Loudmouth and John Daly. Like, just
let him do
some crazy stuff, whatever you want to wear.
I could see John Daly Jr. and Charlie Woods doing a clothing line together for.
Maybe he'll get sponsored by Chili's.
Dear old Chili's
is good. I ate there this past weekend.
Yeah, he's been inside more of Chili's than Chili's has been inside of him, if I had to guess.
Well, I know that, but still. Chili's is a fine restaurant.
Gotta love those waitresses.
Although they're 3 for me, they used to be 3 for $10. That suddenly changed for the economy. Thanks a lot, Biden.
Thanks.
You can't look at how many Tiger's been in. You gotta look at how many he turned down. That's probably the bigger number.
Is it though?
Probably.
I mean, he was a sex addict.
I'm not sure.
Plus, he's on the road all the time, you know.
And there's not a shortage of Chili's.
Yeah.
And you can just look up. There's probably one 5 minutes. I can think of one 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
I can go see a Chili's waitress right now.
Oh, so like Chili's, Applebee's, they brought the endless apps back for $14.99.
That's all they need. Stop having.
How much TGI Fridays they did that?
Stop having.
Applebee's
entrees are trash.
Entrees are trash, but they brought the endless apps back for $14.99. Although I think there's like only 2 Applebee's in our entire region.
Yeah.
One's in like North Myrtle.
I mean, for endless apps at $14.99, I'll make the trip.
I mean, we used to go to TGI Fridays on for football and just do the endless apps. And they were like, we got to stop doing this. I think it was primarily like we used to go in there. Well, when was it on Sundays? We used to go every Sunday night.
No, it was Thursday night.
Or Thursday nights. I can't remember. And we just watch the games and just get endless apps. And they're like, you're gonna be here for the whole game. And it's like, yeah.
Have the Dollaritas. Go sit and have you some Dollaritas and endless apps.
The old Burro Loco and the Dollaritas.
Have a blast.
You want asbestos in your margarita?
I don't care.
It's good margarita.
Yeah. It's quality margarita.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the sports for this week.
And a little bit of eating out for everybody.
Remember, eating ain't cheating.
Yeah. What he said in probably different words, but yeah, so similar. Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll be back next week. You know, more information there dealing with the playoffs, draft, and whatever surprising news comes our way.
Whoever gets fired during.
Whoever gets fired or retires.
You got to do some kind of like closeout. It's got to be your signature. Like until then,
Stay classy.
I mean, you do your things. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Smash it if that's your direction. If you're more tech savvy person, I don't know. Whatever you do, just keep on doing stuff.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, stay classy. I hope this made you think.